Well, we're excited about the Mortal Kombat movie. We watched that trailer today.
We did. The reaction to that's already up.
That was a highlight of the week.
We had a lot of fun with that.
Is it those ones?
It's been a couple weeks since we've done a podcast. There's been a lot of
casting news.
A lot of casting news, a lot of different stuff. The most exciting casting news I found was the casting for the Last of Us HBO show. Mm-hmm. Which, have you heard anything about it, Calvin?
The Last of Us.
I've heard HBO. I think it's the HBO show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard castings.
Yeah.
And stuff. I think like 2.
Yeah, I think
they've
only released 2 so far.
Just because that news came out while I was on vacation, and I figured you guys would either talk or do reactions and stuff to it while I was gone.
Yeah.
So,
no, it came out 2 weeks ago, but we didn't have a podcast last time. So, it was exciting news that we're gonna have Pedro Pascal playing Joel in The Last of Us. Which at first I was like, I think that's a pretty good get, and then I was thinking, man, is that guy going to be typecast for the reluctant father figure? But at least he'll be able to show his face a lot more in this one.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, and then Ellie is being played. I can't find her name right this second. What is the actress's name that played Shireen Baratheon in Game of Thrones?
Bella Ramsey?
Yeah, that sounds right. Her name is Ramsey. That's
Yeah.
right. So she's going to be playing Ellie.
I loved her in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, she was really good. It's been a
Her name
couple
wasn't-
years now, too. So
She was who in Game of Thrones? Who was
not Shireen. Shireen is...
yeah.
She was... man, why am I blanking on
It was
her name
Mormont.
right now?
Liana Mormont.
Liana
right?
Mormont, not
Yeah.
Shireen Baratheon.
Yeah.
Liana
Oh,
Mormont.
the little
Mormont.
badass
Little
girl?
Bear.
Yeah. Little
Sorry,
Bear.
all the Star Wars knowledge have been jamming in my head.
Told
That's
you,
one of the
man.
Been
things I've
pushing and
lost now.
displacing all your knowledge.
Gotta make room.
Gosh, you
Yeah,
better
Little
not.
Bear Mormont.
That better not happen to your Lord of the Rings.
No, I
and
bet you,
Harry Potter
the Shireen
knowledge.
Baratheon actress was really good as well, so I wouldn't feel bad about that.
Yeah.
What was that, Calvin, about my Lord of the Rings?
I said that better not happen to your Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter knowledge too. Just getting displaced
that's
and
pretty solid.
unrooted.
Yeah, that's pretty solid for me. Game of Thrones is recent compared to that.
I hope it's good. Hope it's a good show.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I wonder what they're going to do to separate themselves from just a retelling of the show, even though it will be, a retelling of the movie. Or, I'm sorry, the game, I should say. But, one of these things about these, a lot of these new shows is a lot of them are releasing week by week, not all at once. Mm-hmm. So when you have the week by week model, you can generate hype for far longer than you can just for the week something comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, it can still be pretty big, but it just stays in the public consciousness a lot longer. And in my opinion, it's just more successful. But, with something as big as The Last of Us, are you going to be kicking yourself in the foot when you have all these mysteries and ideas and reveals planned that, well, I can easily go look that up, It's not as easy to do that for, like, The Mandalorian.
Yeah. I wonder how much it hurt The Witcher, because those
True.
are all based off from the stories.
Yeah.
So, you have the people coming in who love the games, but those game stories are different than the stories that are being told in the Netflix show because those are based off from the books.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
true. But also, that it all happened all at once, so everybody could just watch all the episodes that
True.
they wanted. There's no, there's
Speculation.
no temptation to stop watching an episode and then go look something up. You're just going to be able to experience that season at your own pace.
True.
But, with the artificial break of waiting a week, which, again, I think is the better way of doing it, I think that you're going to have a lot of articles being like, the real story behind Ellie, everything you don't know, and it's just video game stuff,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, that happens with anime all the time.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure there's a lot of people enjoying Attack on Titan who have been
that is
able
true.
to stay
Yeah.
away from the spoilers.
Yeah. But you also have a lot of people that, I do see it, people very upset that they got spoiled because someone put a thumbnail image
True.
on there with a big red arrow and a circle, and it's a giant spoiler on the thumb, so you got to be careful. But, right now, WandaVision is going on, and you get inundated with, I think it's the devil, and I'm like, I don't know if it's the devil. It could be, I guess, but no one knows yet, you know? Whereas if this was being adapted from a Wanda Maximoff comic, you might know.
And, with The Last of Us, it's hard either way, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't follow it exactly,
Yeah.
people are going to be upset. But if you do, and that's a story that's supposed to be told in a video game in an interactive setting, like it might not work as well in a television thing, so you make people mad that way possibly too. Be interesting to see.
And then someone in the chat does talk about like The Boys. The Boys is television show. It's still great, and there are elements that are left from the comics, but there's also some that are completely different from the comics. So that might be the way to go. Like, The Walking Dead did this, right, from a comic book. Like it follows it, and then it doesn't, and it's just a different story at that point, And some people enjoy that, some people don't, but it was successful at the very least.
You get this didn't happen in the comic.
Yeah.
And then people were mad and whatever.
But what's
it's also like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
Too. Like, it is a remake, but then there's a few parts in there that are different. It's handled very interestingly.
What's like in terms of a video game franchise to television, like what are some of the best or examples of that being done well?
Examples of it already being done?
Yeah.
As a TV show, though?
Yeah.
I mean, there's like the Super Mario Brothers Super Show and Super Mario Brothers 3.
Sure.
Which were okay.
Yeah.
Super Mario World. Sonic's been pretty good.
Sonics are probably the best ones.
Okay.
I can't think of any live action ones that have been done.
Live action
But,
television
like-
show. Like, was there any like Halo? Wasn't there like a Halo series coming out or something? Or has that not come out yet?
There's been various like
Wasn't there a Halo animated series?
Yeah.
there was an animated series, and there was like, I mean, it's all CG anyway. So, what's live action? What's animated?
Sure.
You know?
It's like The Lion King, right?
Yeah, I know there were some. I feel like there were some live action. They might have just been like fan projects or whatever.
Yeah.
On YouTube, but I can't remember what they were called.
I can't think of any like live action ones. Like I can think of a handful of like animated things that have been done.
Yeah.
And even recently they have like the Castlevania that's been done. But like you can go back as far as like Rick said, like Sonic, Mario,
Pac-Man.
Pokemon,
But
Pac-Man.
is something
Gem.
like The Last
Yeah.
of Us, is that kind of unprecedented in the sense that The Last of Us is already such a cinematic experience already that's live action and gritty and not a cartoon,
Sure.
Like,
Like,
is that something that, will translate well to another medium that's
like
so
doing
close
the
to
Uncharted movie, right? Like
Yeah.
that's already very, I feel, cinematic in the way
It
the
is.
story's being told and stuff. But I don't know. Could you imagine, like, is there a point in doing it to something like Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, Until Dawn, where those are already very story-oriented types of things where you choose and you can change the story the way you you play, versus like if you just made a TV show about those kind of things, you don't really have any options. You're just
like-
watching what story they choose to tell.
The Last of Us, like, its bread and butter is its character interaction, and it's the, I love moments of gameplay, but I also love moments where I'm just literally walking and listening to two characters talk. Whereas my favorite moments in something like Uncharted, it isn't the spectacle, it's that I feel like the spectacle is happening to me, not that I'm watching it.
Sure.
So will that translate well to television or movies with the Tom Holland Uncharted films that are going to be happening,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And then the thing with that too is like how much of those do they follow?
Yeah.
And how much of those should they follow? Should you go the same way the games do that people enjoy, or should you go a different route?
With Uncharted?
With any of them really, as a whole, like should you tell the same story in Last of Us that's told in Last of Us already? Or should it be different? Or should it like you have those characters there but you're following Resident Evil, for example, they told similar stories in some aspects,
Yeah.
but then they changed a whole bunch and the main character you follow isn't in any of the games.
I get you.
Like, is that the way that things should go, or is it more like Mortal Kombat where you're following the main characters
Although
in the storyline, even if the story's a little different?
Like Uncharted, like I think they might have made a good decision in casting someone like Tom Holland who's younger, and you can play in the Uncharted world that currently exists, and it's just a younger Drake. I mean, when we meet Drake, he's not like the spring chicken,
Sure.
He's like a middle-aged guy that does some crazy stuff. And he gets older throughout, but I mean, I don't know how old is Drake in the first Uncharted game. Is he 30?
Yeah, I don't know.
33 or
sure.
something, but the Tom Holland could play early 20s Drake for a movie or two and still fit in that pretty well.
Yeah.
Whereas something with Last of Us here, like the way they're casting these characters, I can't imagine they're not just going to be doing the movie.
It's just the same
games.
story that they've already done.
I don't know.
Or do you change it at all? And if you do change it, will it make people angry?
Yeah.
If you go with Tom Holland as the Drake and all that kind of stuff, you could tell stories of Nathan Drake, but not taking place in the same game time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the first game he was 31 already.
So like you could do stuff like that too. The Mortal Kombat movie that we have coming out looks like it has characters from the game, but maybe you follow the path of someone not in it in a more Resident Evil style thing, which a lot of people don't enjoy the way Resident Evil went, and then even Resident Evil itself was just like, we're gonna spectacle the later movies and just make them things that are happening, you know. And it wasn't really about the story and stuff because they already kind of just went off base with everything. So I don't know what the right answer is. There hasn't really been great video game adaptations for the most part into, especially live action. I feel I think animated. You know, like we had the Sonic movie.
Well, even
that was okay.
The Resident Evil animated movies are much better.
Oh yeah, those are really good.
Than the live action.
I enjoy it. You know, like one of the first times Melanie really met Leon was in Degeneration, and she was like, "Oh, he's kind of a cool character," and that's kind of like what stemmed a little bit of like we could call him Leon instead of Leonardo, you know, because we already were talking about Leonardo
with your son,
with my son. So I don't know. Animation, you can just do more, and I think you can make it connect easier with video games when you take it in the live action format. We have so many live action video game adaptations that just fall flat.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too is like a lot of video games are not necessarily adaptations, but they're inspired from movies and TV shows. Yeah,
that happens. I mean, Metal Gear Solid has different inspiration and even nods to other games and other movies and stuff, you know?
And like, you know, Contra and Castlevania, you know.
Aliens
like,
and stuff in there.
Yeah, like,
and
you
whatnot,
know, all these things have influences from them, so it's weird for them to then go back to the original medium.
Sure.
With the same sort of influences.
If you make a Contra game, should the creatures look very, what were they called? Xenomorphs?
Yeah.
Right? Should they look like Xenomorphs or should they look different? Because a lot of them were based off of what Xenomorphs look like. So I don't know. But hopefully they do good with that. They're also working on a Borderlands movie where they've supposedly they're supposed to be having Jack Black voicing Claptrap.
I did hear that.
Really?
Yep, I saw that.
A lot of big names in a movie like that, right? What else has been?
Let me see who else is supposed to be on.
Not Sigourney Weaver. Man, why am I blanking? What's the girl's name from True Lies?
Kate Blanchett, Jamie Lee
Curtis,
Kevin Hart are all people that have been said to be in this movie. But yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is one of them. Kate Blanchett is supposed to be in there as Lilith, which I think was like one of the siren people, one of the magical people.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but I mean, just because they have big names in them too, hopefully they still come out okay. But it doesn't mean too much necessarily.